Welcome to the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin, and I'm along with
Austin from Ajax, baby.
All right, and we're here for a special edition of the Overrated Experience, and that is the Grand Grind. If you were with us last week, we talked about an effort on my part to try to take $1,000, use the principles of gambling, the bankroll management, to be conservative, smart, and slowly build a bankroll. And the goal here was to try to stay on that journey, give you my experience on that journey, the ups and downs. Remember, this is a sports betting podcast where you're talking to the regular everyday bettor that has the struggles, that has the wins, just like you do. So I'm going to talk about Monday up until yesterday, my journey on the Grand Grind. Austin, how you been doing? What's been going on the last week since we last talked?
I've been doing pretty good. Honestly, a lot of my betting this week did have to tie in with our discussions that we had last week. Like I wasn't overly betting, so it'd be kind of those big event games like the basketball. I was dead set Cleveland was going to dominate that game, win that game. I had money on that.
You locked it.
And honestly, even though I was high on Cleveland there, no joke. I wish I could have told the fans sooner, but I had a feeling there's a chance that the Knicks could sweep them. So I've been betting the Knicks, and it's been going well. So, but
Wow.
more than anything, though, I'm excited to hear about your journey here today. See the progress. First step of the grind.
I don't know if you like the ending, but
Hey, it's a step. It's a step. We don't know if it'll be up or down, right? So
right. So, yeah, you'd really called it out in the podcast last week that you had no shadow of a doubt that Cleveland would go into Detroit Game 7, knock off the Pistons, and they quite easily did. The game was over pretty much second quarter, third quarter, and there was no looking back. So great call there. And what you mentioned the Knicks on the verge of a sweep. You didn't have that feeling that Cleveland was going to come in red hot. You felt the Knicks were going to take them out.
No, I just think the Knicks are head and shoulders above Cleveland. And, I did think to myself when we had our discussion last week that OKC Spurs was clearly the winner. But, the Mets could win it too. They're a good all-around team.
Hold on a second. You said the Mets. The Mets.
Or,
you
sorry,
said the Mets.
The Mets. The Knicks. My bad. Same city. All right?
Yeah.
Baseball and basketball has been my main focus. My bad.
Okay.
But yeah, you know what? They're a capable team. One thing I learned this week, they're well-rounded, I would say, right? So
yeah, there's I can't remember, former Cleveland Cavalier. I just watched a clip. I can't remember who it is. Shumpert, maybe it was Shumpert. He was talking about back in the day when Cleveland had the team, LeBron, like on Kyrie, everything, and he talked about a game where at halftime, it was a playoff game where LeBron was up and down the court doing everything possible, carrying the team. And then they get into halftime, and Tyronn Lue, the coach of the time, turns to LeBron and says, I need more. Right? And the point of his story was, your superstars, banged up, tired, I don't care. You're giving me 30 points, I need 40. That's what superstars do. And I guess he's in a way calling out guys like Donovan Mitchell and guys like on Cleveland and James Harden, that you're just not seeing that effort of stars to carry a team past a lunchbox carrying team like, the New York Knicks. That's why the Knicks fans love this team. It's not just that they're making a run and they've been on the rise. It's the makeup of the Jalen Brunsons of the world. You know what I mean? Like that grinding New York Knick type basketball that they love, that Cleveland just doesn't have.
Yeah.
So,
and I listen, I haven't been watching the games religiously. But I've seen some pretty crazy comebacks on the Knicks end that just like blow your mind. Like I seen this one picture. I think they were down. There was like 6 minutes left, and they were down like 18, something along those lines. Came back and won the game. This is in the previous series. I'll have to come with the receipts next time we talk. But they've been in an unreal run, and they're a quality team. Wouldn't be surprised if they won it. Still putting them at the third ranked out of these three teams that could win. Cleveland's not making a comeback here. I do not see that happening.
Yeah, and OKC took stranglehold of the series up 2-1. What are your thoughts on that series?
I'm not definitely not surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised no matter which way the series went. We basically said this is for kind of the future of the NBA. It does have that feeling like it's going to go 7 games. It does feel like these two are the two best teams in the NBA right now. I am just talking about the game now. I'm even surprised to see that the Spurs are actually for the first time the favorite here.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, you had that game one where Wemby hit that big three to take it to overtime. They get the job done. Uh, OKC, to their credit, they're the champs and they battle back last 2 games, take a hold of the series. They just have, a wealth of talent everywhere, right? And it's overwhelming. And you got to hope that what we talked about with Cleveland is Wemby has to be amazing, full health. He has to be a superstar. And it's possible for them to have a shot knocking off OKC. It's possible. Let me be very, very clear. It's very possible with the skill set. And it's funny too. Another clip I was watching of Anthony Edwards. I think he was talking to somebody about Wemby, and he goes, "It's like trying to guard a statue, right? He's 8'5" statue here. Like I know he's not 8'5", but he's just so big. He's such an awesome defender. But credit to OKC, they're the champs, up 2-1. And I can't see outside of OKC. I think San Antonio would have rolled through anybody outside of OKC. I don't care if it's East or West. Would you agree with that? We talked about these are the two best teams in the NBA, and maybe OKC is the only team in the NBA standing in front of, the San Antonio Spurs making a championship run.
Like I said, obviously I'd put the Spurs as the favorite in the series, but I think the Knicks.
You put them favorite in the series?
No. Like I would put them in the favorite in the series against the Knicks.
Okay, so if they went to the final, they got past OKC. Okay,
but it wouldn't be like I'd be surprised that they won. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to roll back for a second as well. That must have been one of the greatest threes that I've seen in basketball. Obviously not the greatest, but top 5. I mean, the situation that they were in, it was such a ballsy shot for him to hit. Like that three from like a logo shot in overtime to push it to double overtime, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think for that shot to be anywhere for a famous shot, they have to win the series. If they don't win, you're going to forget about it. It's not going to be like Kyrie's 3 against the Philadelphia 76ers, the bounce, dunk. Raptors win.
Yeah, that's the number one.
You have Steph Curry with multiple half-court threes. I'm not going to put it there yet, but I'm going to say pump the brakes on that one, just slightly.
All right.
In my opinion, what do I know?
I mean, listen, it's got to be. It's for me, just off the top of my head, it's got to be a top 5, 3. Just
top
like holy
5.
shit. I think so. I mean, just the fact that they went on to they made even if they don't go to win the series because of that shot, they went on to win the game. That is somewhat significant in a semifinal game. Taking a shot like that, I mean, right now you can't argue it's Wemby's highlight. Like if you're running his highlight reel, that's the number one play, probably, right? Maybe.
If they win the series, yes. If they don't, we're going to forget about it. But you're right. I think if it's on his highlight reel package, if they wind up winning the series, because that was the turning point, game 1.
100%.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you some credit there. Now, we're on to the grand grind. Started my journey last Monday, led up to yesterday. I'm going to give you the ups. I'm going to give you the downs. And the concept here, and by the way, you got to follow us on X at overrated EXPER2. That's overrated EXPER2. Instagram, overrated experience. So it's a hell of a journey to take $1,000. And we looked it up. The professionals usually bet 1, 2, 3% of their bankroll. So if you have a bankroll of $1,000, you're looking at your one unit. 1 unit is $10. 2 units is $2. 3 units is obviously $30. So you kind of have to take it as, what do you like? What do you really like to increase your units, but stick to those units up or down, win or lose. And what I'll tell you off the bat, man, I think I told you the biggest fear I had of doing this, of failing, would be if you start dropping behind, you go on a streak of not winning, and it's like being in quicksand trying to battle back by betting $10, $20, and $30. And it's also very hard, I find, to put a significant bet of that amount, those denominations, without having to do a parlay, right?
Mhm.
If the juice is so bad on, I don't know if you notice this, if you're trying to put a single bet in, and you're trying to maybe not take a flyer on like an odds, like an underdog, the
Mhm.
odds are so bad. Like minus 140s, like, it's not good. Like, how do you find the odds on these websites? Like, if you're trying to make a single bet without parlaying.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not even joking. As you know, and people on the show that listen often know, I do a lot of straight bets, right? So I actually like to, wait and take my time and look for that standout underdog because they come along. For example, look at the Spurs game, right? If you would have put $30 on the first game, and it would have been more of a long plan because I know I was trying to convince you to bet on the second game too, right?
Yep.
But it's like, say for the first three games, you bet $30 because each time you bet $30, if the Spurs won on the road, you're tripling up your money, right? And it's like I said, you're putting that bet, you're putting yourself in a situation where I don't care what anyone says. I don't think the true odds were 3-1. So you're getting those 3-1 odds for the $30. Turning $30 to $90 is still pretty exciting, I would say. I mean,
See,
$60. Like, listen, come
right.
on,
No, but no,
$60 is $60, right?
you, I think, have more of a smarter bet, like a professional gambler's mentality. Like the way you just spoke right there. I think you put the entertainment factor to the back seat, and you're looking at the value, and you're like waiting in the weeds, just waiting. The guy in the corner waiting until his opportunity comes up, right? So I would be better served if I wanted to be successful in the grand grind to kind of think more like you do on this. So this is why maybe it's either bad that I'm doing it or
Yeah.
funnier because it's harder for me to stick to it because I think you have more of the traits of a professional gambler than I do.
Well,
So
I
that's
feel
why I
like,
bring in the show.
yeah. Here's the thing. Personally, when I think you're betting this type of way, if you're losing, but you're only losing 10, 20, $30, you should feel comfort in like, all right, this is more that I like easier to take these hits. Like, even if it's a bunch of hits, it's easier to take these hits. So, you got to take solace in like, oh, even if you had like $600 left, it's like, that could change tomorrow. You almost want to take comfort in that, it's not going to go out the window because you're not chasing. If you stick to your
Yeah.
processes, you gotta think a month or two from now, not a week from now, or the next podcast update. You know what I mean?
Well, I wish I'd followed your advice. I wish I would. I wish I
What do
would
you?
have looked at it the same way. So let's begin the journey. Last Monday, the first wager. Like I find it very hard to put one unit of $10 on anything. It's against my nature, right? It's against my nature. It's like a dog liking a cat. I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Like the cat, I got to bark at it. I can't just accept the cat's there if I'm a dog. But the first wager on last Monday, was the Blue Jays rolled into New York to take on the Yankees, 4-game set. James Corbin was on the mound. I stated I put $20 on the over to win 39.05, and that was the minus 105 over 9. And they got a bit of a shootout there. So got the victory. Jays lost, but the game went over. A lot of runs being scored in that game. Victory is mine. However, that same evening, the big game of the night, $30, my big play was, okay, here's my fault too, is Montreal heads into Buffalo for game 7. Big game for Montreal, the Habitant. And I took the over. Was that the smart play? I don't think so. I got caught up on, man, if I'm going to watch a game 7, I did the betting mistake of, man, I want to watch goals. Right? What a stupid, this is how, like, these are some of the faults. No matter what you do with your bankroll, I mean, you're managing it like this. Like, I'm always thinking, I got to go over 5.5. And the game ended in overtime, 2-2, and the Montreal Canadiens walk in, score the overtime goal, knock off the Sabres. The Habs' magical run continues. What are your thoughts on that night one where I took the Habs? Would you have taken the under in that game? Like game 7s, would you expect a shootout? Like what a stupid decision that was.
Me personally, if we're talking baseball and basketball, I feel like I can have some pretty sound conversation. But when it comes to betting hockey, I'm just not locked in, so I can't tell you which teams I think are going to be high scoring or low scoring. To be fair, Obviously, Game 7, you think they bring their all, but I also, from previous years of betting hockey, I do know that it seems like teams really do lock in defensively in the playoffs. Like in the playoffs, it always seems like defense first. I could be wrong on that. Like I said, not the biggest hockey talker, uh,
Well,
but I mean, hey, if over unders aren't for you, there's 100 different things that you could bet, So
I like
it's
how your
it's
positive
not it's
spin
not
on it.
like you're forced to take even just because you don't got to go to the overs doesn't mean you have to go to the unders either. There's other bets you could take as well, right?
Yeah, and I don't think I've explored that market enough. And I think you're right. Like I love the over unders, and I kind of lock myself in and box myself into those limited bets. And I think probably not exploring. I just can't. At the odd time where you're doing shots on goal, you're doing, the money line or whatever, like the puck line. You're right. If we're trying to do this and do it right, all options should be on the table. Like that.
What I
That's absolutely.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I believe that even if this does not succeed, you want to have left learning something, right? So if
Yes.
you take advantage of all these, there's thousands of bets you could probably take, right? But
Yes.
if you take, just try a couple different things. Hell, maybe it's like, hey, you know what? This week I think a guy's going to hit a home run, so I'll put $10 on him every game of the week, right? And then he hits that home run, and boom! How exciting is that, right? There's so many things you could do.
Yes. I guess you can look at it that way. I don't look at it that way, but that's why maybe I'm not successful as I can
You,
be.
you just gotta look at it as more of a new experience because it is, right? Instead of the same old betting kind of. It's like what you got to do something new, uh, and get different results. Maybe it's losing in a different way. I don't know. Who
So
knows?
now I go into Tuesday. So Tuesday was like, it's honestly, this is a tough week. It was very busy. So it's trying to record these bets and follow up and do research was a challenge. So, man, that was also a factor into my week. So Tuesday, the bankroll's just slightly a few dollars under 1,000. We walk into Tuesday. The only bet made was a $20 on an afternoon soccer game over 2.5, Chelsea and Tottenham. To go over Tottenham, if you're not aware, is coming in today, which is the last day of the EPL action. This is the last day of the English Premier, starting at 11 o'clock, by the way. And I got a lot of games going here. So just we'll get to that story. But Tottenham loses 2-1 to Chelsea. I get the win, but the interesting part is you're aware of the English football model and the European football model where you get relegated, and you go up and down divisions if you're, not like North American soccer. And this, if Tottenham goes down, right now they're 2 points clear. So if they lose today and West Ham wins, that means Tottenham will be in the bottom three and get relegated. And this would be a real test to this system because if you don't know, it's like where Tottenham plays. That's where the majority of London football games go for the NFL. Like they have the six stadium. It's insane. Like the millions, billions of dollars they invested into the stadium. And when you're
Yeah.
not playing Champions League football, you're not playing European football in a way outside of your domestic league, you're losing out on millions and millions of dollars. And then if you drop down to another division, you're losing even more. Like your revenue's cut in half. And I think this is a real test for this European model because think about the owners of these big teams that they want guaranteed revenue. They want guaranteed revenue like in the NFL. Like you can be the Vegas Raiders. It doesn't matter. Finish 32nd, like dead last. But you're not going anywhere. You're coming back in and getting a taste of that NFL TV money. You're not going down to play the AFL or CFL, because you finished last and like you screw your revenue. So this is a real test like that, oh my God, I paid billions of dollars for the stadium and now I'm down in the second division. That's a big test to this model if the folks that have money will continue or not try to change what is kind of the beautiful part of like European football is this relegation up and down divisions. So we'll see.
See to me that sounds amazing. Like I'm not the
It
biggest
is.
soccer guy, but I love the system. Like, I'm thinking about all this money this team's going to lose, but that next team up, how much more money are they going to make, right?
Yeah. Like right now today, Arsenal's already won. Arsenal they're 4 points clear of Man City. So they've won the EPL coming into the final day. But you have teams jostling for that last Champions League spot, which is the European tournament. The final I talked about is happening Saturday for next year. You have teams. There's two other competitions slightly under the Champions League, Europa, and the Champions. I think it's called whatever, like another European competition that teams need to qualify for. So those are up for grabs still today. And I talked about West Ham and Tottenham are also battling it out at the bottom of the table, not to be relegated. So even though the league is finished, it's done as far as Arsenal's the champ. You have 4 or 5 different stories happening where it's important for these teams to finish in certain spots. So that's the exciting part about how this is structured. So get the win, back to even, slightly over $1,000 heading into Wednesday. So Wednesday, we pick up a little more volume of action. And this starts off with, let's see, put the old man glasses on. Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago Cubs thought that putting $20 on the over 6.5, that this game was going to go over. See, I just can't go to the unders here. I just can't do it. And the Cubs, and let's see how this game finished again. This game finished with a 5-0 Brewers win. Cubs could not put anything on the table. Brewers get the job done. Kyle Harrison. This guy is a flamethrower, right? Kyle Harrison?
Yeah.
Is he not? Who's
who's
the Brewers?
Oh, no,
ace?
you're thinking of, are you thinking of the guy that throws 103?
Hundreds. Yeah.
Oh, Mero, I know, Mero Couts. No, I can't remember his name. Here, I'll quickly Google him for us.
But the Cubs struck out 13 times. It's like they can't put anything on the board. Disgusting. You have Harrison.
Sorry to cut
Go
you
ahead.
off. Jacob Misowowski? I
Yeah,
can't pronounce
he's a
his name. That's probably why I couldn't remember it. I can't even pronounce it.
Okay. But he wasn't pitching here. Harrison was. And Kyle Harrison, he had 11 strikeouts. Cubs could not do anything against him. 5-0. But Mazeroski, that guy's a flamethrower, right? Like he's insane.
Some people are saying he could be the best pitcher in baseball.
Until he has that Tommy John surgery, right?
Yeah.
So then we move on to lots of loss. So I'm below the 1,000. Later that evening, I take the over. I thought there'd be a little more scoring in the Vegas Golden Knights, Colorado Avalanche series to open up. But we have over 6.5 loss. The game ends 4-2. A lot of 4 goals scored in the third period, but really tight checking. This is where we're getting into. Okay, I got Siri. You know when you're talking to your phone, and Siri comes on? Shut down, Siri. Thank you. 6.5, no good. Lost there. Now, also, I did a parlay, put on $30. I had the Blue Jays and the Yankees in the third game of that series. I put an alternate total 5.5 and paired it with an over-under of that same hockey game, 5.5. So, yes, I got the 5.5 over in the hockey game, but the Blue Jays and Yankees, it's weird because the second half of that series turned into pitchers' duels. All right, I think this is Yosavage in this one. Yosavage and Schittler for the Yankees. That guy's a flamethrower as well. What are your thoughts on Schittler?
On Schittler, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Yankees have been pretty solid this year.
But Yosavage, have you found that he's been just as good as he was in the playoffs for the Blue Jays last year?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I really do think that the strength of the Blue Jays is their starting pitching. I mean, when they're healthy and Shane Bieber's in the lineup too, Dylan Cease could be easily top 3 pitcher in the AL. So you got Gausman, you got him.
That's funny because he got lit up.
Yeah.
Cease got lit up by the Yankees a little bit during the season. And then it goes to
Gausman
grind.
Lauer, right? Yeah, Lauer actually shut it down. That was crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
So how's this
Lauer's kind of been back and forth, right? So
yeah, I'm coming into this game 5.5 thinking that's a gimme, right? I know we got 2 great pitchers on the mound, but even the Jays had opportunities to capitalize with bases loaded, nobody out, and just can't get a big inning going. Couldn't get a big inning going. They get the win, but they couldn't get the big inning going.
Just want to say, though, right now, the Jays are currently on a 4-game win streak, and things are finally looking pretty bright, especially setting a new record on Skeens, most hits yesterday of his career. That's a big sign. And when George Springer's swinging the bat like this, I think things are only looking up right now for the Jays.
Yeah. Also,
Ernie Clementing. I'm sorry.
Or Clemente, yeah. So also I had a separate over-under on that same game, 6.5. Didn't pay off. This is where now things are starting to go south, right? Like I just can't put things together here. The winds are starting to drop. You know, the funds are going into the early 900s. Kyle's getting angry. He's getting upset. You know what I mean? Now it's like I don't like to see. I want to see those triple digits of 1,000 plus, and then I could feel relaxed. But nope, nothing there. And we move on to the 21st, last game of the Yankee Blue Jays series. I decide, hey, you know what? That was an anomaly. We're going to get over 8.5 runs in that last game. Who do we have on the mound for the Blue Jays? I can't recall. On the mound was Fisher. It was a bullpen game. The Jays has 5 pitchers. A bullpen game, thinking that there's going to be some lighting up here. The Yankees throw 5 pitchers into this game, but the game ends 2-0. Blue Jays win 2-0. You know, the first 2 games are run fest, and then it shuts down for no reason. You know, they start being conservative, shutting out the Yankees, and Kyle is faced with another loss, $30 down the tube. Any thoughts before I move on?
No. I mean, right now it's not sounding too bad, you know?
Okay. Game 1, that same evening, May 21st, the Montreal Canadiens head into Carolina to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes haven't played a hockey game in like 11 days, but I also witnessed the Montreal Canadiens play game 1 against Buffalo, where Buffalo manhandled them until the Canadiens woke up. So I was thinking Montreal's going to walk in, same idea. So I put an alternative total, 4.5 over, along with the New York Knicks knocking off the Cleveland Cavaliers that night. And the game ends with Montreal blowing the Canes out. They jump all 4-1 at the end of the first period. I can't believe this Canadiens run. And the Knicks easily handling the Cavaliers. So I get the win there. So back in the winning books and move on. But here's where it goes south again. You know, when you look at this baseball schedule, you're looking at games, you're looking at the evening games. Like, I'm going to just throw some money on the evening games, right? And I got $20 burning in my pocket. So I decided to take a couple alternative overs. Athletics and Angels over 6.5. Colorado and Arizona over 7.5, which I thought would be kind of a score fest between those two teams. Did it work out for me? What do you think?
The
answer's no, Austin.
No.
The answer's no. Rockies wind up losing 2-1. 2-1. Imagine going into Arizona, watching Arizona, like the Diamondbacks and Rockies in a 2-1 snooze fest. That's terrible. Athletics knock off the Angels in extra innings 3-2. The Athletics are a surprising story. They're leading the West right now.
Yeah, I think I can't. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or not, but I remember us talking about how we thought the Athletics could be like a 500 team, I think. Like we were talking about how they're going to move to Vegas, and, you know, they kind of got like a young core right now. They look like they're headed on the right path for success. They're fun. Funny, they could be a fun team.
I'm always seeing big hits from Shea, their catcher, Longlears. How do you pronounce his name? Longlears? And Soderstrom, left fielder. Like, I know they got Kurtz, but those guys always pop up, like having a key double, like really clutch hitting for this team. So they've been impressive, but not impressive enough to get me the runs I need. And I take the loss. $20 gone. The bankroll's starting to take a hit as I move on to the 22nd. Now, I had a $20 bonus bet that did not impact my bankroll at all, so I threw it on. It had to be 6-game parlay, though. This is what we talk about, these bonus bets. It had to be. It had to be 6 legs.
Mean, to be fair, though, if it's just a free bet you're throwing on, that's still be entertainment.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So I had Cleveland, the Guardians, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Right off the bat, I lost the over 5.5. The game ended like 2-0 or something. So forget it. It's over. Like, I didn't even have a chance to move on to the other 5 legs.
Jesus.
So moving on to real stuff here. So Dodgers, Brewers, over 7.5, and this is on the 22nd, along with another alternative over with the 6.5, Tampa Bay Rays, leading the American League East Tampa Bay Rays, taking on the New York Yankees. Put $20, 2 units on the parlay. See where I'm getting in these parlays that make it a little more
Yeah.
complicated. And didn't get the wins there. Either game didn't go over, which is disappointing. So we have the Guardians, Rays 4-2 win over the Yankees. And what else did I say there? What other game was there? I had on there? Guardians and Philly. No, I had Tampa and I had the Dodgers. And the Dodgers were playing the Brewers. And that ended 5-1. Nothing there. Just can't get the runs, man. Just cannot get
Yeah.
it. Can't get the victory.
Yeah, I do have something to mention. I think I
Okay.
read that this might be one of the biggest like pitching years in the last like decade or something like that. Like apparently pitcher numbers are up or something along those lines. So it might be like a very low like offensive year right now. Obviously, I don't know if that could just change on a hat or with baseball. It's weird too. I don't know. I don't really know what's true and not true. But people always talk about, oh, they're tweaking with the balls this year. They're a little different this year, that year. I don't know how true it is. But if there's this trajectory of just low scoring baseball games, and I know you hate it, but it's almost something we should probably try to take advantage of. We got to do our research on the unders in baseball games this year.
Unders? Are you suggesting unders? How dare you?
Possibly. It could be a strategy.
I think there's also something too, though, as well. If you're doing live game betting, that some of these games fall off a cliff when it comes to scoring. They score runs early, and then nothing for such a big chunk of the game when they start getting into the bullpen, or like that starter settles in. So if you have like a Paul Skeens or a Scooble, those level guys, and they get lit up a little bit, in that first inning, they usually recover and shut it down. I know the Jays won yesterday, but it's not like Skeens was given up after that Springer home run. Tons of action.
I think he allowed 9 hits.
Forget it. Forget that stat. I'm just giving an example.
So
I think it's also a question in baseball. We might get to the point where they have to address the dominant pitching like they did with the shift and the clock. You know what I mean? Because on average, if you say a guy's got a great fastball and he's not hitting triple digits, like, do you consider him having a great fastball?
I mean, if it's 99, maybe, yeah. But if it's not like 99, but I know what you mean. It's not really like intimidating. Like, I don't know, when you say a guy throws 100, you're like, holy shit. Like, you just automatically assume he's good enough, all-star level at least.
Yeah. Excuse me. So I also had another alternative over-under parlay on Friday with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Toronto Blue Jays over 6.5, along with the Washington Nationals and the Atlanta Braves over 7.5. Now, what I love about the majors is that you can get saved sometimes by the way extra innings goes with having the runner on second, because they usually have some big innings there, right? They usually have some big innings there, and that's how I got saved with the Braves. Final 11 innings, they scored 5 runs in extra innings. Right? As long as you get to extra innings with that tie, you have a shot.
Honestly, yeah, that's very true.
I
honestly haven't thought about that.
Yeah, like you've seen, like there's teams that light it up. Like it just they put a 7 spot or something on. Like both teams scored 2 runs in the 10th inning, and finally the Braves get the winner in the 11th inning. But it can be a 1-1 game could turn into 8-7. Final if we hit the extra innings just correctly. Okay, so right now, I also put in a over-under on the Colorado Avalanche Golden Knights game. Nothing. They did not go over. Mitch Marner suddenly the Conn Smythe favorite. Like, just the guy never was around by their second round in Toronto, but suddenly he's lighting it up in Vegas, and the Golden Knights have taken a 2-0 advantage game series lead. Jared Bednar, coach of the Avalanche, is calling out, basically throwing Kyle McCarr, superstar defenseman, under the bus because he's got I believe, shoulder issue. So he hasn't been in the first 2 games, and kind of calling out it's up to him if he can play or not. I mean, just not a good sign of a Stanley Cup winning coach taking a future Hall of Famer and even giving the insinuation that you're calling out his toughness. Bad idea. So we'll see what happens there. I got to believe the Avalanche will bounce back, and that game's tonight. Also had, though, as that game was going on, heading the third period, put the alternative total 3.5. As the game was 1-0 going into third, 3 goals scored, get the win there. So I'm back on track, get a $64 payout. Over under, same night, Athletics in San Diego, over 7.5. That easily went over. That was a score fest. So worked out there, $37. So you can see how, as we approach the weekend, the volume of bets goes up, right? The weekend is the killer. So heading into Saturday afternoon, this is where the story takes a twist, Austin. This is where the story takes a twist. So right now, as I'm heading the afternoon, I'm hovering around $900 on this bankroll. Not happy about this. Not happy at all. Start betting. Oh, MLS has a game on the afternoon. St. Louis taking on Austin FC. What a stupid name for a team, right? Austin FC. I'm just kidding. So we have a game where I need the over-under 3, 9 shots on target, 7.5. This game had goals, but nothing else. There's no action going on. No shots, no corners. Like it's very frustrating when you're betting these same game parlays and the corners are not coming. So now I take a nosedive. It's over. Blue Jays Pirates over 7.5. What did the game end yesterday, Austin?
What did the
5-2.
game end at yesterday?
5-2.
Oh my!
So $20.
No.
Like just stuff like that. See, this is where it grinds me right there. It grinds me. A 5-2. This is the Skeens game you're talking about, where the Jays kind of got on top of them. I know there were several times the Pirates had, runners on first and second, nobody out, move the guys over to second and third, and then pop-ups and strikeouts. That angers me so much when I'm figuring a locked run in, at least one run, a sac fly, ground ball to the right side. But no, nobody out, 2 runners on, move the runners over, the next 2 guys fuck up. They can't do nothing. Go to hell, Pittsburgh Pirates. So now it's getting ugly. Now I have a parlay, $20, Boston, Minnesota over 6.5. Mets, Marlins over 5.5. Alternative totals. Game ends 4-1. Can't get the 5.5. 4-2. Boston, Minnesota. Can't get it. Kyle is spiraling right now. He's upset. He's not happy about this.
God.
He's shitting on the grand grind because it's really upsetting me. I can't go nowhere. I feel like I'm in quicksand. Now we go on to another parlay. We have the Chicago White Sox, San Francisco. This is the 4 o'clock hour, right? You got to get into that batch of 4 o'clock games. We have Giants, White Sox over 6.5. That hits 10-3 Giants. But I had the Braves and Nationals over 7.5. Like 2-0. 2-0, man. 2-0 Washington. Like, how could you predict that the Braves not only would, lose, but they would not put any runs on the board at home against the Nationals? Frustration is just going crazy here. I'm looking out the window. It's raining. It's not a good day. What am I going to do? I can't even get outside to cut the lawn because now I'm going to be inside cutting the lawn, getting angry. And then guess what? Bruno Mars tickets. Ready to go watch Bruno Mars at Rogers Stadium, which undoubtedly is the worst venue this city has ever seen. And then add on potentially a rain monsoon, that rain or shine, that this show goes. And then add on folks traveling on the Go station from Downsview. It's gone. They've shut it down for the weekend. So even people from outside of Toronto wanting to go to the Bruno Mars concert are not able to take the Go train to go to the first event of the year. 50,000 people. And they decide this is a good night to do maintenance in the city of Toronto and not have Go service at one of these venues. And even if you get off the goddamn train, you got to walk 10, 15 minutes to get to the goddamn stadium.
Yeah.
And then add in mud, like all that stuff, and then free TTC. I am done taking the TTC. I do not want to be in a pack full of fucking people, wet and cramming in to grab that next train or bus. No goddamn way. So heading into the day, Bruno Mars, going to be soaked, get the ponchos out. And then luckily they call it off and say, we're moving it to next Sunday. Just because it was even insane to hear that people were complaining that he should have moved on with the show. The weather was such that you have an outdoor stadium, 50,000 people, 50 millimeters of rain. What moron thinks that if you have the opportunity to move the show, you don't do it? Of course you do. What were your thoughts? Would you, you're a concert goer. You seen the weather yesterday. Do you think it was a good idea to cancel that concert?
Yeah, I think it was a good idea to cancel that concert. But you're absolutely right. It's the shittiest venue the city's ever seen. It just looks terrible. It looks like scaffolding.
Yes, it's
Like I don't
fucking.
know. Yeah, I remember hearing the first day that was built, it took people 2 hours to get out of the stadium at the end of the concert. I can't remember who it was, if it was Foo Fighters or some big band, but just ridiculous.
So, like for example, I had tickets to go see Foo Fighters in August on a Tuesday, and I'm like, no, please sell them off. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to the stadium on a Tuesday and try to get in and out of that stadium, 50,000 people. No way. I don't. But wouldn't have mind because it was a Saturday, no rush. Now it's a Sunday. Ugh. Ugh.
And you know what? You know what pains my heart as well. I guess it's sports related, so it's fine for this podcast. But obviously, we got the World Cup of soccer coming up soon, and
Yes.
BMO Field, where teams will be playing here in Toronto, is ranked the lowest quality field, or the lowest stadium quality, or whatever, in the entire tournament.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I agree. It's the lowest
addition.
capacity. It's not necessarily a traditional World Cup stadium that you would normally see. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? This is where the World Cup has kind of lost a lot of people. Unless you have thousands of expendable dollars to pay, it should be about the atmosphere and it should be about the experience. So I'm hoping that, yeah, the look of the stadium doesn't look great when you look at those temporary stands. But when you get into the stadium, if the atmosphere is jumping, hopefully that trumps everything beyond what the visual is. So I just hope that's the case. But yeah, it doesn't look nice. But FIFA wanted to expand to more teams. You're getting less and less likely of countries that can host. That's why you need 3 of them, and cities that will pay for it. So yeah, it is what it is. But let's hope that Toronto puts on a good show and it's still a hot spot for some great crowds. We'll see what happens. But Austin, this is where things spiral. This is where I'm sitting. Now I went over to have a few beers to Herson, who's been on the podcast here, because now we've missed the concert. You might as well go out and take the evening, continue on. And I'm sitting in a chair looking at these losses. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to disappoint Austin, but $100 is going on.
What?
Yeah, it started going chaos yesterday. Saturday, thanks to Bruno Mars, thanks to the weather, I'm not taking any blame here.
What?
I'm not taking blame. So $100 goes on a same game parlay, MLS, 7:30, Cincinnati or Orlando City. Get the win. Kyle's back on board.
Oh my God!
Fuck's the grand grind right now. I didn't say the story was going to turn out good. This is like this is a tragedy. This is like a Shakespearean tragedy. So get a win there, same game parlay. My Orlando City, FC Cincinnati. Also have a parlay with Charlotte FC New England, $100. Loss.
No, not another one.
Loss. Yeah. Oh, it's going downhill, Austin. And then later that night, $100 on Montreal, Carolina over 5.5, and the New York Knicks to win. Habs, Carolina cannot get the goals, get the loss. Things are spiraling out of control.
Oh my God, no.
Another $100 on another Nashville soccer FC versus New York City. Get the win, get back in the winning. So I'm up and down. $20. That was an earlier bet, but it was $20 on the over and the 8.5 on the Dodgers Brewers. Get the win, $11.3. $100 back on Toronto FC, Chicago Fire. Get the loss because I couldn't get one more goddamn corner. Throw it on. Another $100 on San Diego FC, Vancouver Whitecaps. Get the loss there. Things are spiraling out of control. It's not working the way I wanted it. Damn the Bruno Mars concert, because now I got free time, I got beer, and I'm watching and trying to win because I'm getting frustrated. Typical gambler. Lose there. Lose LA Galaxy, Houston Dynamo. Lost there, $135. Win 117 bet on the over alternative Texas Rangers, Los Angeles Angels, and Colorado, Arizona. So I come into the day, my bankroll's down to $660, and now 11 o'clock kickoff. We have $500 on 5 different games here.
What?
On EPL.
No.
Yes. So the grand grind died
In
on 1 week because of bad habits and a canceled Bruno Mars concert.
What?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I'm sorry, guys, but I became human, and I would have been fine even sitting in the rain, protect it, and not having to bring up my phone and fear that it's going to get wet. So the moral of the story is I can't stick to it. It was hard. And I'm going to have to think of it again, but probably wait after next week's Champions League to think of another scenario and how to maybe best approach this going forward, because it didn't work out by the end. The Heineken started flowing. The lack of, keeping busy was flowing. It's not good. Austin, I'm sorry. I've disappointed you. Now my attention's on these EPL games, looking to rebound, get back into the winning books. But Austin, what are your thoughts on that story? There's a tragic story, Shakespearean tragedy where Hamlet dies at the end. Oh, that's a spoiler alert. Sorry for those that didn't read. But anyway, go ahead. I told you the challenge would be that if I get on a run where I'm not winning and I can't, it's a flaw.
See, I would take
this is what we're pointing out as a flaw. This is a flaw in my way of thinking of it.
Yeah. I've put like $300 in my account compared to, let's say, $100 in my account, and that $100 has carried me farther than the 300s. You know, the way that I look at it is, you're not out until your last dollar is gone. You know,
I know.
I hope you win these soccer bets.
I know this was tough. I know, Austin. I know I've seen a disappointing look on the other side of the mic there. It's tough. I know, but man, it's in my nature. It's hard. It's like, did you ever watch the movie Tin Cup? Okay, so Kevin Costner plays a golfer who's a phenom golfer, but he can't get his ego out of the way. So he qualifies for the U.S. Open golf tournament. He's actually leading the golf tournament, but he has a shot where for the first 3 days, he lays up or he goes in the water on this one hole. And then while he's leading the tournament on the final day, he has the shot where he can be conservative and lay up before the water, or he can try to clear it, which is the much riskier shot. And when you're leading a tournament like that, you're probably going to take the conservative approach. But he can't let it go. He's got his ego, and he needs to clear that water. And he loses the tournament because he puts 6 balls in the water. And until he finally clears the water, right? Another ball. So he didn't make the smart play. He made the play that he felt that was going to bug him, and he lost for it. And that's kind of what I did here today or yesterday. So I apologize to the fans out there. I did my best, but part of this journey was also the learning and the ups and downs, and sometimes it finishes with the down. And that's what happened here. So that's the way the grand grind ended for this week.
Wait. Let me make something very clear. All right. First of all, you said you had $660 left, and there's $500 in action. So you're looking at your account with $160 in it, and you're saying you're out. You're not even out yet. Yeah, listen. What will you agree? Listen. First of all, that $160 betting $10, $20, $30 bets could last you weeks. All right. Listen.
In your weeks. I don't know if your calendar.
What do you mean in my weeks?
There's Austin weeks and there's my weeks. I can't stretch that. Sorry.
Listen, you're going to... No, what do you mean? Listen, all you have to do is commit to these 5 bets, when they're done, whatever the result is. If one of them don't hit, if one of the 5 don't hit, that's just a straight-up retirement. So I'm assuming you got at least $300 left in your account. That's 30% of... That's still so much.
Austin, we live in different worlds.
You can do this.
We live in different worlds.
Bet on home runs. Vladdy home runs. He's going to hit like 10 in a month soon. Come on.
That is solid advice. You're right. That is solid advice. That's just not my nature, man. It's just bad. I'm a bum.
Come on.
I know. It's for
get back on track. It's not too late. It's not too late.
It's not too late. It's never too late. But that's the story so far. We'll see how the 11 o'clock hour goes. Bloody Sunday, Bloody Sunday. This could be a Bloody Sunday or a rebound, and we can do it all over again. So that's my story. Austin, over to you on what your betting card looks like today. How save us, because last Sunday you locked in the Cavaliers. That was a win for us. What do you got on tap?
So today, honestly, it's hard not to look at OKC as the underdog at plus 122 on FanDuel here and think that there's some value there. I understand maybe plus 100. Okay. You give a slight edge to San Fran, but that extra 22% there
Sir,
honestly
San
makes
Fran
it.
or San Antonio?
Sorry, San Antonio. My
You
bad.
sound credibility
Sorry,
than Bam.
Spurs.
San Fran.
I'll just say Spurs and Thunder.
Okay,
all right?
Spurs. Yeah.
Okay, so I think today the correct play is to take the Thunder. It might feel like a bit of a trap, though, doesn't it?
They're the best,
Yeah,
though. The
yeah.
champs.
And then me betting for whatever reason, I think I think in the series as a whole, I do think that Vegas will win. What's the score right now? Just 1-0?
2-0 for Vegas.
2-0. 2-0 for Vegas. I think Vegas gets it done. Are they the underdog tonight or are they the favorite? I got to take a look at this because they're the underdog and they're at home and they've won both games
Are
on
you
the
sure
road.
they're the underdog?
They're
You sure? Check that again.
Plus 118, 8:20 p.m. today. They are
Wow,
the
really?
underdog, and I will definitely. There was always a joke being made with Leafs fans that the moment that Mitch Marner left the Leafs, he was going to win MVP. Like everyone said that, like fully. It was always a joke, just like Hyman leaves, scores 60 goals. But I'm taking the Golden Knights, same thing, where it's more plus 100 than plus 118 in my head. So
I think it's
two
silly
underdogs
that-
right there.
Yeah, but I just think it's so silly that I got to believe a part of that betting line is people can't fathom that the Avalanche should be down 3-0. That's part of it, right? It's not even logical that you just watch the Vegas Golden Knights outplay the Avalanche. Like you watched it on the road. Why would it necessarily change when Vegas is on home ice? And I don't even know if Cale Makar is back or not. So that's odd. I think there is value there. You're right. I don't see it. I'm all in that camp that maybe 3-0 is not going to happen, but
Yeah.
it's hard to believe that it couldn't.
Yeah, I'm not a big hockey guy, but ever since Vegas has come to the NHL, this team has come to the NHL, they've done nothing but dominate year in and year out.
They don't settle like for an off year, right?
Yeah,
I don't even
no.
they got so much talent and they're able to attract talent because even their state tax laws, I think, are favorable, so they can cram a few more stars in. But yeah, they are the model franchise that people look up to because they're in it. They took a flyer on Jack Eichel when Jack Eichel was with the Sabres and he had a kind of a falling out and had a bulging disc issue in his back or neck or whatever it was. And he's been perfect. Won a Stanley Cup, dominant player. Jack Eichel has been outstanding and a great investment by the Vegas Golden Knights. Now the Sabres have turned it around now finally, and they've, made it to the second round. So at least things are looking up there. But wow, yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights are the model. All right, what about baseball? Anything fantasy heading into the week? Anything from maybe watch out for this series or this pitcher on the mound? Or
You know what? I haven't been as locked in. I've been doing good in fantasy baseball with the players that I drafted. I'm second in our league out of 12 players, and I know I'm winning this week as well. But as terms of pickups and players like that, not necessarily. I haven't been that locked in. If we're looking at bets today, Philadelphia is a team that I'm high on right now. They're the underdog today against Cleveland Guardians. That's a bet I'd take today. Maybe look at the later games, give some people a chance to listen to the podcast. Let's look at the 7 p.m. game tonight. I'm taking the Angels in this game against Texas as well at minus 120. But nothing pre-planned. I was more focused on here in the grind today, honestly talking about the basketball. And, I was more focused on the playoffs, and where I thought they were going to go kind of coming into this podcast. But, next time we do this, maybe next weekend, maybe I can come with some more baseball because that's kind of what I promised the podcast here. So.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I know baseball is kind of taking a little bit of a back seat with the playoffs going on. It just happens, and baseball's still happening. Your boy Trout, is he kind of taking a step back? You think?
He's taking a step back, but I mean, he's still having a good year. I didn't actually ever say that. I never actually mentioned him on the podcast, but I did place, just so you guys know, I did place a $5 bet on Trout to win. I think it turns to 200 if he wins MVP. And he actually did start with a red hot start. But I think the only chance is, he gets hot again, and then there's an off chance he gets traded to a team at the deadline. I don't know why the Angels wouldn't do it at this point. They're going nowhere. You might as well, are you trying to win? If you're trying to win, you trade him, right?
I mean,
Or are you just
you had years of both Trout and Ohtani, and you couldn't do anything. Like it's amazing that they fucked up that franchise so bad.
Yeah, that is, and
Worst contract ever with Anthony Rendon. That guy was horrible.
Still paying that guy, I think.
Still paying him. He's done. His career's over.
Yeah.
So Angels are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, they've been overachieving a bit this year. A shout out to their shortstop Neto. Neto's been having a great year.
Yeah.
So Neto and Trout, their offense is okay, but then you look at their pitching and like I can't really even name you any standouts. Demeters might be one of their best pitchers here, and I'd say he'd be pretty much Lauer level, I would say, and that's their best, right?
Yeah, that's not good. They need the arms. Anyway, I think we're done here, Austin, on the Overrated Experience Grand Grind edition, and we'll try to grind out a Sunday to get back on track and keep this going. Any final words?
Just this isn't a promise to the fans, but a part of me wants to do some kind of grand grind as well, to see if I could, do it, and also I feel like it's a good. I don't know, it's fun to record it. It keeps you honest, right? I think for me it would be like $25, $50, $75. But I think I could. I think it'd be like 1 or 2 bets a day. I could see myself getting into it. But we'll talk more about that on the next podcast.
Okay, so we'll put you that commitment. Anyway, big week of sports action. Next Saturday is the Champions League final, Arsenal PSG. Probably have some wagers on that. Baseball action. The French Open tennis tournament started today. That's also something, if you're interested, there's a lot of wagering going on there. I can't pretend to be a tennis expert, but if it suits you, it's there for you, the taking in Roland Garros in Paris. Anyway, that does it for the Overrated Experience. The pleasure's all been yours. The Overrated Experience is over and out.
Awesome from Ajax.
Let's do it again. The Overrated Experience is over and out.
Awesome from Ajax. Out.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yikes.